All praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Let's get into this video.
They want them. Iran has the US exactly where they want them. Trump just cancelled all attacks against Iran. Not because he's winning, because he has to. US debt is currently sitting just below $40 trillion. 30-year Treasury yields have just hit the exact level right before the global financial crisis. But this time, it's worse. Japan, the largest foreign holder of US debt, is breaking. The yen just hit 40-year lows, and Japan burned through $59 billion in one day trying to save it. A drowning country sells what it owns, and Japan owns American debt. So on Friday, the US Treasury did something it hasn't done since 1998. It sold euros to buy yen, not to save Japan, to save themselves, to stop Japan from dumping treasuries into the worst bond market in over 2 decades. The last time America intervened to save the yen, stocks dumped 20%. The yen carry trade unwind is now accelerating. The US simply can't afford this war, and Iran knows it.
Now, even though America, Esau knows he can't afford this war, he's going to bring this war about anyways, because the New World Order still needs to come about, and the CF still needs to come about. Now, of course, all these nations that are in bed with America will also fall with America, right? Their stock market will fall right alongside America. Right now we have an oil crisis, right, where with the petroleum reserve, apparently America is drawing less and less and less out of their strategic petroleum reserve. And it's gotten to the point where it's going to hit a critical point where eventually the oil will be rationed, and the oil that is there will have to be used for the military, right? So it says a financial storm is headed your way, and this is 100% true, because this crisis that's going on over there in Western Asia, right, where Iran's at, is affecting the whole world, right? Now let's get this out. Japan oil crisis. Is Japan having a problem with oil shortage? It says Japan is not facing an immediate physical oil shortage, but the country is dealing with high energy prices, inflation, and tight supplies of specific materials like naphtha due to Middle East shipping disruptions. And we don't need to read the rest of this, but eventually Japan will be hitting that oil crisis just like all these nations are. And we could be a few weeks, a few months, right? Because you had the MOU, briefly, I guess, did something. But of course, nothing that Trump does or these presidents do with the deal will stop this crisis. This crisis will keep going and will keep piling up, because Yahweh means for this crisis to keep on going. It says right here. Yep. Let's read right here. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, right? Because when you have resources starting to get low, you can't get fertilizer no more, you can't get food on the shelves, right? You can't even get basic hygienic supplies. People are going to end up spoiling each other, plundering each other, pillaging each other, robbing each other, killing each other, right? Eventually cannibalizing each other, right? Because this oil crisis and every crisis that's coming with it is really going to bring people to survival mode. It says in verse 16, For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand their power. Right? The cops aren't gonna, be there to enforce the law, pretty much. Pretty much, really, because they really won't be able to, anyways. Right? I mean, I believe there was a little while ago that when there was an oil problem, when it came to funding, uh, certain crimes just were not dealt with. Right? They had to pick and choose which crime was worth the gas for. Right? But this time, with the oil crisis, that's going to happen again. The cops, or the police, they're going to have to deal with what's worth the trouble. Right? They may have a murder case here, but they may not even go near the other murder case over there. This is why these women are going to realize that they need a man, because these police ain't going to be there to protect them no more. Right? So these women, living by themselves, saying they don't need a man. Alright, well, guess what? When they don't have running water anymore, right, and their toilet bowl's filthy, they're going to be crying for a man then. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to, right? And eventually, you're going to have martial law. You're going to have checkpoints, right? Because Esau's going to come like a mad lion sparing none, right? And he's going to enforce the Sihib, right? So he's going to start doing checkpoints, right? And under certain conditions, you may not be able to go. Right? In certain cases, during the CEV, if you were not an essential worker, you were basically told to stay home. Right? So, it says, Isaiah chapter 19, verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Right? So, as you can see, it's confirmed twice, and it's confirmed in Esdras, and it's also confirmed in Isaiah, that eventually people will be fighting against each other. So while this war is going on, while this war is escalating, you're going to have people start freaking out. You're going to have people start bugging out, right? And you're going to have fighting over here. You're going to have fighting overseas, fighting in the Middle East, fighting in the homeland, fighting at home, right? Race wars, and you name it. So, but for us, this is good news, because this just shows that this system of so-called normal, right, is about to be disrupted. And that we only have a little bit left until the Sihib comes and Yahweh Shai comes back. So if this lesson is edifying, God praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.